Going on, fam? Commander General YAHANNA I.S.U.P.K. Check this out. It just came out in the news that Missouri legislator is considering deputizing all Missourians to be bounty hunters so that they can round up and bring in all of the Mexicans to be deported. This is racism at its best. But we're not surprised. We're not surprised because we know racism. When we see it, we've been known. Blacks, Latino, and Native Indians, y'all have gone to sleep over. We've been wide awake over. But we canceling Christmas. Let's cancel Christmas. What good is Christmas when you're deporting all the blacks and Latinos? What the heck good is Christmas if you're doing that? Instead, we're going to hold down the Hanukkah, the Feast of Dedication. We're going to show you a real holiday that God promoted, that falls on the very same day this year as Christmas. Instead of Christmas, you finished with the hustle and bustle and the lie of Christmas and all those lies that they put out about Christmas and all of the BS that they've been teaching. Let's go serve a real high holy day that belongs to the Lord. Join me this December 25th at ISUPK.com. We will be celebrating the cancellation of Christmas, and instead we'll be celebrating the dedication onto the Lord. I'll tell you all about it, man. Long live our Mexican brothers. Long live them and their families. You couldn't have picked a more righteous people to deport from this country. They follow your laws. They support your families. They build their own families. They come together and work hard. They've kept your nation going. They fed you your vegetables and everything else off of camp, and yet you still hate them. The Arabs can blow up everything they want, and you still negotiate and work with them. The Russians can bomb countries into obliteration, and you still respect them. But the Mexicans, you don't never respect enough. The great Mexican people, the tribe of I.S.U.K, the royal people of the Lord. You messing with God's chosen people, the real chosen people of God. Hey, join me December 25th. We about to get it on. We canceling Christmas. I'll see you then. Shalom.
There's one west. 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 There's one west.
Most High in Christ. We the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. We teach that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native men, women, and children are God's chosen people according to the Bible. This is the Monday night scripture breakdown class. General Mahayaman will be in the building to answer all questions, and he's going to answer with the scriptures. So with that, Mathumya, can you, Baba Kashal, give me Zephaniah 2:1? Okay. We need to turn back to the Lord as God's chosen people. We don't have no safety with joining with our oppressor, joining with the other nations, being in Egyptology, being in the Muslim mosque, definitely being in the Christian church. Christianity is white supremacy. So we must get out of the Christian church. We must get out of the world. We must join the I.S.U.P.K. We must get in these classes and renew our minds. Renew our minds daily. Pick back on our culture, our heritage. Take back the Hebrew. Take back our language. Put on the fringes. Rock the braids, the boots, the beards. We need to put back on our culture, our identity. The Most High, He is a black man in spirit. Christ, He is a black man. He is a black man. Revelation chapter 1 and verse 13 through 15. When you get that from Thumbia, can you read the book of Shaw?
Come. It's the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1.
This book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Go ahead.
Gather yourselves together.
Gather yourselves together. That's what the Messiah said. He said, gather yourselves together. We got to gather together. We can't be individualites. We can't be in fake Israelite groups. We can't be in the Christian church, the Muslim mosque, Egyptology. We can't be separated throughout all doctrines and dogmas and philosophies. We got to be in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under Commander General YAHANNA. That's where the Lord set up since 1969. That's where the Lord's Spirit's at. That's the only way you're going to hit on the Spirit of the Most High. Read, YAHUSHUA.
Come. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
It's so important. He has said it twice. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired. We're not desired here in this land called America. Police brutality. We get our blood gets shed in the streets. First fire, last hire. We fill up the prison systems. We are abused every day, every chance the oppressor can get. Read on, YAHUSHUA.
Come. Verse 2. Before the decree bring forth.
So this is the decree. Before the decree bring forth, decree from the Most High. Before the decree bring forth, read.
Before the day pass as the shaft.
Before the day pass as the shaft. So the day pass as the shaft. Before that's thermonuclear destruction, thermonuclear fire. Read.
Come. Before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you.
Before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you. Read.
Come. Before the day of the Lord's anger will come upon you.
Before that day happens, before Judgment Day, before Christ's return, before those bombs hit, read.
Seek ye the Lord.
We have to seek the Most High. Now is our time. Now we have grace period. Now is the grace period. Now is our time to get right. Now is our there's no priest coming to punish us for us eating pork right now. It's our job not to eat pork. That's what it is. We as priests, we tell our people not to eat pork, and we gotta make sure. And then, of course, we're not supposed to eat pork. Israel, we're not supposed to. We're supposed to follow all the commandments. The Feast of Dedication is coming up, Hanukkah. We definitely not supposed to celebrate any pagan holidays. That includes Christmas. Definitely includes Thanksgiving, New Year's Day. They all coming up. So we got to get out of the mindset of our oppressor and take back on our culture, our high holy days, our feast days. Read.
Oh, all ye meek of the earth.
All ye meek of the earth. That's talking about us, Israel. Read.
Which have wrought his judgment.
We have wrought his judgment. How have we wrought his judgment? We have sinned against our power. We have sinned against the Most High God. We got to stop doing that. Since the Garden of Eden, we've been transgressing against the Lord. But Christ, he got it right. He is the example. He is the example, and he's watching us to get it right. He wants us to succeed, but we have to put in our work now. Now we have to make sure that we follow the Lord's laws. Read.
Come. Seek righteousness.
Seek righteousness. We gotta seek righteousness. We are that vessel of honor. That vessel of honor. Esau is that vessel of dishonor, made for destruction. Go ahead, read.
Seek meekness.
Seek meekness. Go ahead.
It may be ye shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger.
So that we may be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. Give me Zechariah chapter 1 and verse 2. See, we want to be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. When Christ come back, when the chariots come, we may get on. So we don't get left. So we get taken. We don't want to burn with our. We don't want to burn with the fire burn of our sockets, the tongue burn in our mouths, and we get burnt on our flesh, fall off our bones while we stand on our feet. We don't want that to happen. Read, Baba Kashaw.
Oh God. It's the book of Zechariah, chapter 1, verse 2. The Lord hath been sore displeased with your fathers.
See, the Most High have been displeased with our fathers. Why? Because we sinned. We transgressed against the Most High's laws. We have. This book was our records. These records, the Bible was written for our learning. It was written for our learning. So we have to make sure that we seek the Lord and read this book. Go ahead. Oh, so can you pick it up from Yala? We had Zechariah chapter 1 and verse 2.
Zechariah chapter 1 verse 2.
Baba Kashaw, since you're a little farther away, can you use the mic?
Zechariah chapter 1 verse 2.
Shalom, Yabashim Shokta.
The Lord hath been sore displeased with your fathers.
You went to class, sir? If I may? Turn it back to the Lord. Turn it back to the Lord. The Lord have been so displeased with our fathers. Read again, Baba Kashaw.
Zechariah chapter 1 verse 2. The Lord hath been sore displeased with your fathers.
The Lord have been sore displeased with our fathers. He has. He has. We have sinned as a nation over and over and over again. It's time for us to stop sinning as a nation. It's time to come back. It's time to turn back to the Lord. It's time to do what's right. Read on.
Verse 3. Therefore say thou unto them, thus said the Lord of hosts, turn ye unto me.
We say he wants us to turn back to him. And remember, the Most High is a man of war. He's a man of war. The Lord of hosts, the Lord of armies. He's all about that warfare. He wants us to be men of war. That's what the black man is supposed to be, a warrior for the Lord, a righteous warrior, a righteous man. We got to turn back to the Lord. He wants us to turn back. The reason why he punishes us over and over again so we can get it right. The Lord is a righteous Father. He's not going to stand by and let his children just be wicked and not do nothing about it. He's going to punish us. And that's why he took us out of our land. He plagued us. He's still plaguing us until we get it right. Read.
Said the Lord of hosts, and I will turn unto you.
And he will turn unto us. He will change his face. He will change how he deal with us. He'll put the blessings, the rewards. In Deuteronomy 28 verse 1 through 15, all the blessings. He will change the way he deals with us. So let's get Matam Yad, Ezekiel 33 and 11, Baruch Hashem. The Lord wants us on top. We are that special nation. The Lord chose us to be a peculiar people, to be a separate people, to be a holy people, to be a special people. The Lord truly does love us, but it's us that always goes against him. We the ones that gotta stop being arrogant and stop being prideful and stiff-necked. Read, Baba Kashaw.
It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 33, verse 11. Say unto them, as I live, saith the Lord God, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked.
See, the Most High have no pleasure in the death of the wicked. He doesn't take pleasure when we die. That's why he wants us to change our ways. He doesn't want us to die in our sin and our iniquity. He'd rather us live. Read.
But that the wicked turn from his way and live.
But the wicked turn from his way and live. That's why he give us even in our plagues. One of the plagues is long sickness. He give us chance after chance, even within our punishments. He give us chance after chance after chance before unfortunately we have to go because we just too wrong. We just too out of pocket. Read.
Come. Turn ye from your evil ways.
Turn ye from your evil ways. We gotta turn from our evil ways. It always goes back to that. It goes back to turning from our evil ways. You take it. And with that, I'm gonna pass the class over to Priest and Officer Knott.
Yes, what the brother was saying was absolutely very heavy. You know what I mean? Turning back to the Lord is also raising men. You know what I mean? Because first off, we got to follow Christ. And what Christ did was heavy. Christ raised up men to teach men how to teach the scriptures. That's what we all learned. How we going to teach these scriptures? How we going to save brothers' lives from the demons and the hell that we face inside this world? You know what I mean? So give me Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 23. I lift my Bible. Yeah, no apocrypha.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 23.
Go ahead.
Hast thou children? Instruct them.
And we all see each other as children in the truth. When you come into the truth, we come into the trooper program, we all seen as young men. It don't matter how old you are, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100. It don't matter. When you come into the truth, we see the immaturity in you, and we teach you as young men. We all got to be taught as young men. I know when I came into the truth, I know I gave them a run for their money. I mean, shout out to the captains that was there for me. You know what I mean? I know that. Shout out to the generals that was there for me, because I'm sure I gave them a run for their money. Why? Read it from the top.
Has thou children?
Go ahead.
Instruct them.
I was instructed. I was taught how to be a man in the UPK. I was taught how to be an officer in the UPK. I was taught how to be somebody who's going to lead my family, lead the men that come after we do. You know what I'm saying? Lead the men that's going to be strong and taking the reins of being the leading body or the government of the new world. Right? Keep going.
And bow down their neck from their youth.
Go ahead.
Verse 24. Hast thou daughters? Have a care of their body.
Now bow down their neck from the youth. Like we learn how, as when we come into the truth, we learn how to, first off, we learn how to take orders. That's the first thing we learn, how to take orders. Why? Because one day you're gonna have to give orders. And it's imperative that the way you treat men is the way you treat it, right? Or the way that you are treated, you should treat those men. And sometimes, you know what I mean, we need a little bit more instruction, right? But everybody don't need the same instruction that you got, right? So we learn how to treat or instruct men based on what the instruction that they need. Just like you have different children. All your children ain't raised the same way. Everybody that has multiple children know that. All your children are raised different ways. You might have one child that's advanced in math and another child that's advanced in English. You can't raise them up the same way. Or one child that struggles in physical sports and another child that struggles in academia. You raise them different ways, right? You know the strengths of each child. That's what Christ did. Christ found your strengths and maximized on it. Right? That's what we're here to do. Find out what your strengths are and maximize. You might be a video department. You might be a Shamar brother. You might be a brother that could teach the hell out of a class, but you might not be a brother that can lead the camp. You dig what I'm saying? Everybody has their strengths and their weaknesses. Keep going.
And shew not thyself cheerful toward them.
All right, drop that. Give me Hebrews 12 and 5. All right. After that, it said, give them to a man of understanding. And that's what we're here to learn, man. Understanding. The men in the truth got to understand not just the men that we around, but what we here for. What the goal is. You know what I mean? The goal is to get a crown, but also the goal is to raise these men that surround us, because there's brothers in the world that's struggling. And the only reason they're struggling is because you ain't been to their corner yet to give them the truth. The only reason they're struggling is that because you ain't walked down that block and tell them that they Israelites. That's why they're struggling. So it's our job to save them. And we learn that through the Spirit of Christ. We learn how to be better men through the Spirit of Christ. So what you talking about earlier, what you talking about coming back to the Lord? It's so imperative, because without knowing who we are, then we're just going to be niggas on the street. We're going to be niggas in whatever city we in. All right? Keep going. Some good, how you?
Teaching the class, answer the questions. Whenever you're ready, you let me know. We'll get into it. Also, Zaka Ahmad wanted me to break down Jeremiah 16:16 about the time of hunters. That's the best I can recall, all right? And I think it was someone else, and I'll get it on for you, all right? Let me tell you one thing first, however, though. Nosotros somos la escuela israelita de conocimiento práctico universal. Comenzamos en 1 Oeste Calle 125 Harlem, Nueva York, desde 1969, debajo del mando General YAHANNA. Carnales, esta es la verdad. Si tú eres hombre, hispano, negros o indio nativo, tú eres Israel, el pueblo elegido de Dios. Tu madre y tu padre dicen que somos un culto y mantienen su iglesia sin culpa, pero su iglesia es culpable de todo lo que nos están pasando. All right. All right, I'll answer your questions. We'll get it on. Also, I'll give you some precepts on that devil that shot that healthcare executive. I'll give you a precept on that. Someone asked me for a precept about that. I'll give it to you. And I think we can begin. Any other questions? Please.
We have a question online. This is from young man Jermaine. Shalom. YAHAWASHI.
Shalom, young man Jermaine. YAHAWASHI. What can I do for you, warrior?
Slaki, can you break down Ezekiel chapter 24 and verse 27?
Absolutely.
Is God, the question particularly, is God say he will make him talk more better that way?
Did God say, will he make him talk better that way? I will look and I will answer it in 1 second, all right? Go ahead.
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 24, verse 27. In that day shall thy mouth be open to him which is escaped, and thou shalt speak, and be no more dumb. And thou shalt be a sign unto them, and they shall know that I am the Lord.
Well, it's not speaking about speaking better. It's speaking about speaking. Do you understand? The ability to speak. So don't think so much, you might be a person that can't speak well now, and there will come a time when you can speak better. Don't think like that. That's the way Moses thought in his error. Moses had a speech impediment, and he believed that that speech impediment held him back from being able to speak for God. He was incorrect about that. The Most High God in his mercy sent him Aaron to be for him instead of a mouth, since he didn't have confidence in his mouth. But he did not need Aaron to speak for him. The Bible says this: if thou speak not, these stones shall rise up. Gracias. If thou speak not, these stones shall rise up and speak. But this scripture is talking about there will come a time when his prophets will speak. This is speaking about being willing to speak, young man Jermaine. That time is right now. That time is right now where people are willing to speak and to no longer be dumb. Why? Because for years, my God, hundreds, if not thousands of years, people refuse to speak. It's not that they don't have the ability to speak. It's not that they don't know. Don't you know that every Christian knows that Thanksgiving and Christmas are pagan holidays? They all know. Can I give you Pat Robertson? Look up. Did I give it to you already? Pull Pat Robertson up. Every Christian has known, my God. How long? We might be going back to the 1700s. The Christians, learned Christians. I'm not talking about the people that you might know in your little town or in your ghetto where you grow up. They don't know anything but how to satisfy their lust. But there are educated Christians that went to theologian schools that know what the Bible says about Thanksgiving. They know that it's not Jesus Christ's birthday. They know the Christmas tree is pagan. They know it, but they say nothing. That's what this precept is about. They know about slavery. You think we're the only ones that found out about slavery? Do you think that the UPK are the only people that ever knew that Jesus was black? That is not true. There are plenty of people that knew, but they refused to speak. The Israelite school of UPK were the ones willing to speak, the ones that were no longer going to be dumb. The word dumb is Old English for not speaking. That's why a dummy is called a dummy, because it can't talk. A dummy, a ventriloquist dummy. It can't speak. The Israelite school of UPK under commanding General YAHANNA and the men that gave him this school to lead, those men were willing to say what other men would not. And that is what this precept is speaking about. Put Pat Robinson up on the screen. And let me hear the young brother's question one more time.
All right.
Okay, this is David, who says, we have friends who do not celebrate Christmas because they say December 25th is really a pagan holiday. While I agree that Jesus may not have been born on December 25th, he certainly was born as described in the Bible. How do I respond to them?
Well, in a sense, tell them they're right. You see, the winter solstice a couple of days later was the shortest day of the year, and the pagans had something called Saturnalia. And it was a time of lawlessness because all the laws were suspended, and people, a bunch of singers actually wandered the streets naked singing, and then they had orgies, sexual orgies. It was a mass thing. Well, when the Catholic Church came along in Italy, the Romans and others didn't want to give up their holidays, so they said, okay, we'll Christianize it. And so they said, okay, we'll say the birth of Jesus was the 25th of December. And then there was a monk who began to add it up. You see, if you read in Luke, it says there's a census taken when Quirinius was governor and so forth and so on. And they could take those leaders and figure the exact time dating from the foundation of Rome. And that's when the dates were established. And so they get pretty close to the date. But to say it's the 25th, shepherds were out abiding in the field. It gets a little cold at night. I mean, were they out there in the middle of winter? I don't know. I've been out there on the shepherd's field on Christmas Eve. It's very nice. But it's cold. And nevertheless, I mean, what was going on? So all this...
It sounds like he's been sitting in class as long as me, because that's the UPK's breakdown. That exact breakdown is our breakdown that we've been saying since 1969. Now, unless Pat Robinson goes to our classes, he must have done the same research we did. He must have just went and got the same books that we went and got. He must have researched the exact same thing that we researched, except he said nothing. He put a big tree up in his church, told everyone to come down to Christmas service and Christmas Eve service, and he just shut his mouth about it. This precept is prophesying the time when men will not stay dumb any longer. They're not going to stay dumb about slavery anymore. They're not going to stay dumb about Thanksgiving and Christmas and Valentine's Day anymore. They're not going to stay dumb about the slaughter of blacks and Hispanics. They're not going to stay dumb about it anymore. They're going to speak. And that's what this precept is about, young man Jermaine. Anything else? Also, on the topic of Christmas, everything he said is correct. Christmas caroling comes from the pagan worship when they would come to your house to sing you into sex. Come to your house to sing like you seduce a woman into having sex. And they would have sex with people by coming to your door and singing to the women in your house or the men in your house, and they would come out and you would let them come in your house and you would have sex with them for the holiday of Saturnalia. Christmas is the combination of 3 pagan holidays. What do I mean when I say pagan? The word pagan means farmer, right? Meaning there were holidays that the common folk celebrated. People who were uneducated, people who just, had corn and cows and goats, and they usually just worshiped anything that was, a cow or a goat. They just worshiped that. Anything that, anything with breasts and milk, they pick some animal and make the animal their god, right? Because they believed that the worship of those animals was going to make their farm successful. They worshiped weather gods because their farm was the success of their farm was dependent upon the weather. Christmas is the combination of 3 pagan festivals. One is Saturnalia. Saturnalia is the feast I'm talking about with the carolers. They would come from house to house and sing you into sex. It was to the worship of the god Saturn. All right, the god Saturn is the Roman chief god, like Janus, or it's the Greek chief god. It's synonymous with Janus, meaning it's their number 1 god, Saturn, which is why the largest planet is named after Saturn, to worship Saturn. Saturnalia was his birthday, was the day that you worshiped him, and it was a holiday called Saturnalia. Also, it's the winter solstice. The winter solstice is a time in certain very cold places where you can see lights in the sky, or what they call the northern lights. And they begin to have sex and drink and drugs when they see those lights in the sky. If you show lights in the sky in New Jersey, white people are going to piss themselves. So I wouldn't do that this time of the year, because big Jersey tough guys are going to cry and urinate on themselves if they see a drone in the sky. So they don't like lights in the sky anymore, okay? But they did like lights in the sky a long time ago. It was called the winter solstice. They had a festival that was about mistletoe. That's where the mistletoe comes from, because the mistletoe, they would brew it into a tea, and it was used as a love potion. Meaning you take the mistletoe, you brew it up, you give it to somebody you want to sexually assault, they drink it, they get all woozy-headed, and then you sexually assault them like you're Donald Trump while they're high on the mistletoe. That's where mistletoe comes from. Saturnalia, the carolers. The tree, of course, comes from the last pagan festival, which is the worship of the god Nimrod, whose spirit went into an evergreen tree, and that's why it never died in the winter. And they would worship the tree, and whoever did not worship the tree, their heads were chopped off and hung on the tree. So because of that, the communal Christmas tree that was in the town would be full of gold and riches, so that Nimrod's wife/mother could take all those riches into her house. And that is Christmas. You got a few other smaller ones, the Yule log. That's a worship, that's a festival in Germany, which is set up for Saturnalia, where they would burn a big giant log all night and just have sex all around the log all night and pray to their false gods. Yule, look up the word Yule, you'll see the Yule festivals. And that's Christmas, young man. And Pat Robertson knows it. They know it. They just don't talk about it. We do, and we're called a hate group and a cult, because we do say the things that Pat Robertson has refused to say for 50 years.
This is from Officer Kazak. Shalom, YAHUSHUA, sir. If I could, I wanted to ask for a general breakdown on Jeremiah chapter 16 verse 16. Specifically, will the hunters be after the chariots come and after we train in the wilderness?
The hunters will absolutely be after the return of Christ. I'll read the precept. I know you have the internet now, and I'm sure the internet is telling you to go out and kill and murder everybody right now. That is the doctrine of a psychopath who is learning from, guess who? White people. That is how white people think, because white people, their lust to kill is uncontainable. They have to do it. Every murder you see the cartels doing, every murder you see the Crips and the Bloods doing, and the Vice Lords and the Gangster Disciples and the Black Disciples. are all black and Hispanic men who are seduced into white culture. It is white culture to murder. That is their culture. It is not the culture of white people to wait for God to help them. That is not how they think. It is not their culture to do that. Furthermore, there's only one people that have a culture that is dependent upon God's timing and not their own. Otherwise, you would just go out and storm. If you lose an election, you storm right into the Capitol, piss on the desk, kill the cop that's standing at the front door, and demand that they stop the steal. You would do what white people did on January 6th. You think on January 6th, white people said, well, let's just wait for God to work this out. That's not what they do. They go in there, they have a rally, they go into the Capitol, they beat the cop up at the front door of the Capitol, beat him to death, go into the Capitol, break everything, piss on everything, because that is their culture. They don't wait for God to give them victory. That's our culture, but it's not white culture. That guy who killed that healthcare worker. You know why he killed that healthcare worker? Because that healthcare agency is evil and corrupt and rich at the expense of poor people who have nothing. His mother was directly affected by the incompetence and the greed of that healthcare company. Did he go to church and pray about it? Did he say, Lord, when are you going to change things? Did he say, my mother's dead and I pay for this health coverage every day and it still didn't help my mother? Did he say, I'm going to wait for God to give me justice? That is not white culture to do that. That's your culture. That's my culture. But it's not white culture. Come on. No.
If I can add too, so they protested, they made him a murderer.
Listen, I tell you what, he just might become the next president of the United States. That's what might happen. I mean, because they get enough white broads on that jury, they're not convicting him. White women love him like they loved Charlie Manson before him. You want to see a direct parallel? If you can, show me the women who loved Charles Manson and came to his trial every day to have sex with him and be his groupies. Charles Manson killed a house full of white people who were rich actors and actresses. Him and two other broads went in his house and killed them. Charles Manson had women coming to that trial every day, wanting to be with him and be his wives. That's white culture, Rock. That's them. It is not us. That is not who we are. Before I break down Jeremiah 16 and 16, I want to give you the proof, and then I will break it down. Give me this is the patience and the faith of the saints in the book of Revelations. Please, whenever you get a chance. If anyone has it, let me know. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. You know what I'm talking about. Please.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 9, verse 13.
Yeah, that's good enough. You got a story about him. That's good. Please.
Book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
Everyone heard that. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Meaning the people that enslave people are going to be enslaved. Continue.
He that killeth with the sword.
If you kill someone with the sword, go ahead.
Must be killed with the sword.
You have to be killed with the sword, right? That's justice, young man. That's how it works. But here's the part that matters when you're black and Hispanic. Here's the part that matters when you claim to be the children of God and not of man. Read.
Here is the patience.
Here's the what?
The patience.
Here is the what?
The patience.
Here is the patience. Keep going.
And the faith.
And the faith. Keep going.
Of the saints.
Of white people.
Of the saints.
Of Chinese people.
Of the saints.
Of Africans.
Of the saints.
Because none of them believe in waiting until you kill someone for revenge. None of them. You think the Chinese wait before they take out their revenge? Go ahead. Go over there and see. You think the Africans say, well, let's wait for God to give us justice. No, the Africans is coming in there to eat your feet tonight because you ate your grandfather ate their grandfather's feet. There is one people on the planet that are forced to have patience and faith when it comes to justice. And that's you, blacks and Hispanics. You're not allowed to go out and kill someone because they deserve it. You're not allowed to go out and kill someone because they put someone in slavery. You're not allowed to kill someone because they killed with the sword. They're going to be killed with the sword. They're going to go into slavery, but here is the patience and the faith of the saints. You have to believe that God is going to give you justice. That's part of being in this race, in this nation. Other races, they don't need that. They get angry. They feel they were wronged. They can just go storm the Capitol and kill everybody they want. They can do that. You, however, cannot. Everyone understands. Give me the last one. Give me the book of Luke 13. Bring hither and slay them before me. Give me about a verse before that. This is a perfect parallel. If you want to understand a parable to know what life is about, that's the best way I can describe this to you. If you're in the truth right now, right, and you want to understand what is life about, what do I do? I'm in the truth. I need to know what to do now. There is a perfect parable that Jesus Christ gave his men before he left to sit on the right hand of God. And I believe it's at Luke 13. Am I right about that? Luke 13, bring hither. Captain? Luke 19 and 27? Is that right? Read Luke 19 and 27. Skip one verse, skip two. I'll read for you. I'll give you the breakdown. Up above it, Jesus Christ gave a parable about a man who was going far away to go gain a treasure, to go gain a kingdom. He had to leave. Before he left his men in charge because he knew he would be gone for so long. So he said, listen, I'm leaving, but I want you to occupy this land until I get back. I don't know when I'm coming back. It might take a while. So the men began to do what he told them to do. Some of them fell off. Some of them began to abuse the people because their Lord was not around anymore. Other ones began to do just what he told them to do, to occupy the land until he returned. Before he left, he gave each one of them a penny. Each one, he handed them a penny in their hand. Finally, the day came and he was coming back. And now he had a kingdom to reward them with. So he brought them forward in front of him. He said, bring the people forward who I told to occupy. He told the first man, he said, what did you do with the penny I gave you? The first man said, I multiplied it 10 times. He said, then be thou over 10 cities. The next man said, I multiplied the penny you gave me 5 times. He said, all right, then be thou over 5 cities. The last man said, I did nothing with your penny. I wrapped it up in a napkin. I put it away to make sure it was safe because I didn't want to lose it. He said, then you don't know me, because if you knew who I was, you would have multiplied my penny. Now I'm going to take your penny and give it to the one who multiplied his tenfold. What does that mean life is about? Life, if you're in the truth, is about standing your ground until Jesus Christ returns. And you grow. You take the knowledge that you were given in class and you grow it. You grow. You were given the same thing I was given. You were given the same thing Commanding General YAHANNA was given. Now you go and you grow it. You grow. You're on the internet. You're on TikTok and Instagram and X, Twitter, and you're growing it. You're talking to people on your slavery. You're bringing in your high school friends, your cousins. You're doing everything you can do to multiply what you were given. Multiplying, it means you grow more people with the thing that one person was given, meaning you. Then he said this, and the people who didn't want me to rule over them, the people who refused for me to be their Lord. Now that's where Captain Ariel is going to start from. All right? Go ahead, please.
Luke 19, verses 19 and 27. But those my enemies.
Those my what?
Enemies.
You see, we're all here under Christ and we're serving him. Some of us are very zealous, and some of us, will not stand by and not multiply our penny. Some of us are not as good as that person. Some of us are scared to multiply our penny. But we're all in here doing what we can do with what we were given. But then there's other people who don't want to serve Christ in any way. They want Christmas. They want sexual assault. They want to be child molesters. That's what they want. They want to go to church and sing so that they can behave righteous in front of people and then go home and molest their wife's children. That's what they want to do. They want to have some woman that they molest her children day and night. That's what they want. They don't want to be in the truth. They want pork and ham and Christmas gifts. Those are the enemies of Christ. Those people are the other nations. Those people are Israelites who refuse to stop following the other nations and to follow Christ. But those my enemies, keep going.
Which would not that I should reign over them.
Which would not that I should reign over them. They don't want Christ to rule. They want Joe Biden to rule, Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, Santa Claus. They want them to rule. Continue.
Bring hither.
Do what?
Bring hither.
Do what?
Bring hither.
The word bring hither, young brothers, is bring here. Bring hither. Bring them here. Come on.
Enslave them.
And do what?
Enslave them.
Talk to them.
Enslave them.
Teach them.
Slave them.
Bring them hither and slay them. Where?
Before me.
Before who?
Before me.
Before Louis Farrakhan?
Before me.
Before the Hotep Dr. Sebi?
Before me.
Before the conscious community leader who tells you that now is the time for revolution? Before the Black Panthers, you mean?
Before me.
Before who?
Before me.
Who's speaking here? How do you know who's speaking? How do you know?
It's written in red.
That's how you know. It's written in red. Well, is Christ here? Then we're not killing anybody. Because when the killing starts, he'll be right there. He'll be standing there. He'll be the one saying, bring me him. Bring me them. Bring them over here. Now you just decide who do you want to be in that day. That's your decision. You want to be the ones that goes, I learned the truth and I taught it to my wife. We had Shabbat Shalom every weekend in my house. I taught it to my woman, me and her. We always have Shabbat service. Do you want to be the brother? Where you been at, brother? Oh, I ain't been around in a while, but I learned it and I know it. Why your lips so black? Say what? You can be him if you want. That's up to you. Who you don't want to be is them. Right? The one you don't want to be are the people who refuse to be ruled by Christ because they're going to die in front of him. It's right here in the Bible. It's right here in the New Testament. Now I'm going to break down Jeremiah 16 and 16. All right.
Oh God. This is the book of Jeremiah, 16, verse 16. Behold, I will send for many fishers.
Behold, I will send for many what? One more precept the brother might need. Give me the administration of death in the New Testament. Behold, I will send for many fishers. This is the Old Testament prophecy, brother. I will send for many fishers. What is a fisher? A fisher is someone that throws bait out into the ocean or the sea and brings in fish. What did Jesus Christ say when he met Peter? He said, come with me and I will make you fishers of men. Because when he found Peter and his brother Andrew, they were working on a fishing vessel. He said, man, drop that net, come with me. I'll make you a fisher of men. Fishing is what we're doing right now. Right now, we're fishing. Right now, we're going on the internet and we are fishing people into this school. We're presenting ourselves in a way that draws men in. If you want to know what the bait is, you're the bait. You are a living promotion for what Christ can do for a man. If you're some brother that came out of jail, you killed a couple of cats, you went to prison, you came out, you had some warrants, you were a thief, a liar, a drug addict, a criminal, look at him now. You're the bait for other men to see what Christ can do. They look at you and they go, damn, you're totally different. If you're some woman that was a whore on Instagram, you're some woman that thought that her best quality was her body because that's what her father taught her, because that's what her uncle taught her, because that's what her mother's boyfriends taught her. Her value is in her sexual ability. She was on Instagram being a whore. Look at her now. Well, she's the bait. And you're supposed to go out in this evil world and show everyone what the power of Christ can do, the redemptive quality that Christ has on a person, and that he can raise the dead. You're the bait. Everyone understands. And we're out here fishing. And we're putting you everywhere there's a camera. There's a camera. I want your face in it. Does everyone understand? I don't want to see a camera and you ain't on it. You be on every camera, every show. Do it. There's a camera somewhere. I heard in Philly there's some goddamn big old screen that you can go down there and look into. Why ain't your face in that thing? Why ain't you standing down there with a U.P.K shirt on, looking into that camera with a flyer in your goddamn hand like this? Oh, if you were trying to multiply, you would. You should be on Instagram getting 25,000, 1 million followers. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Come with me, and I will make you fishers of men. Well, the Bible prophesied a time when the Lord would send for many fishers. We're in that time right now. Continue.
Saith the Lord, and they shall fish them. And after will I send for many.
And what?
And after.
At the same time?
And after.
While the fishing is happening.
And after.
You mean that we're going to teach on Tuesday and go shoot somebody on Wednesday? Is that what you're saying? And after the time of fishing, meaning these two times are not at the same time, everyone. Right? There's a time of fishing and then there's a time of hunting. These two things don't happen at the same time. All right? Why? Because if they happened at the same time, you would not need to have, come on, knock. You would not need, if they happened at the same time, you would not need to have. If they happen at the same time, you would not need to have, Matamya, patience. Give him a hand. That's why you need the patience. Because if I could just say, man, I'm tired of these white people and go kill them, then there's no reason for patience then. Right? You could just do it tonight, right? What happened when Peter saw Christ? Christ rose from the dead. Peter saw Christ and he said, Lord, is now the time when thou will restore the kingdom to Israel. Peter didn't want to have patience. He said, is now the time? What was the answer of Jesus Christ? It is not in thy power to know the time that God has in his power. You're going to have patience if you want justice. It's one of the integral parts of justice. First, you have to be the children of God. You have to be worthy of justice by you living a more righteous life than the people who hurt you. You got to be better than them. If you're some woman that's been molested, your burden is to never become like the people that molested you. If you're some brother that was molested, your burden, if you want him to pay, if you want your child molester to pay, and you should want him to pay, you should want him hurt. If you really want the people that assaulted you to hurt, you have to tell yourself, I am going to be better than him. I'm going to be nothing like him. Now I'm the kind of person that deserves justice. Then there's just one more thing to do. Wait for it. Oh, sweet Lord, it's coming. It is coming in a way that will be so satisfying. It's going to be soul satisfying when we get justice. Do you understand me? It's going to satisfy your soul. But we have to wait. Now we are in the time of fishers. But after that, Ibad.
And after will I send for many hunters.
And after will I what?
Send for many.
Will I what? Send for. After will I send for. Bring them here. Bring them here. And slay them before me. That time is also coming, but you have to wait for it. Right now, we're in the time of fishers. You don't harm anybody unless you're given an order. You don't harm a soul. You defend yourself, defend your family, which is legal to God and man. But you never do what that white boy did because his mother is sick. So he gets to go out and kill someone and become a heartthrob. Akim, that's white privilege. To be able to murder someone in Manhattan and become a superstar. That's white privilege. Everyone gets it? To be a 34-count felon and an adjudicated sex assaulter and become president. There's this cat named Matt Gaetz. Who knows him? He's a congressman. And the Congress did a report on him. Took about a year. They found that he absolutely did pay countless teenage girls thousands of dollars for sex. One particular teenage girl was 14. He paid her $400 to have sex and bought more drugs than a damn put you in a coma to give to these kids. It was all consensual, but he did get them high. The Congress went and did an investigation, and they're the Congress. They have a lot of resources to investigate something. They said he did it. Matt Gaetz will more than likely be the next president of the United States. That's what's going to happen to him. He is going to rule the world because he is white. Everyone understands. But if you're black and Hispanic, you'll get justice, but you're going to have to wait for it. Anything else? That's your breakdown, Kazaka Amada, right? I got to go. Próximo preguntas. Preguntas.
This is from Lacham Yahawah. Shalom, Lord in Christ, my Lord. If I may ask sincerely.
Then otra vez. Look, that means more drink, please. More wine. I appreciate it. Whoever can give it. I'm not sure if you want to guard or not. So I appreciate it. Go ahead.
Can I have a general standpoint on the drones and active UFOs that are around the world, my Lord, and
no problem.
My Lord.
No problem. No problem, Mark. Well, let me just so you could understand, Warren, I would absolutely love to answer your question for you. Actual real UFOs, and those UFO sightings have been around on record, I think, since the 1700s, when Leonardo da Vinci put a UFO in his paintings. You can find that for the brothers and put it up on the screen. This is in the 1700s when they would draw pictures of UFOs in the sky, right? UFOs have been around a long time. Some of them are legitimate. Some of them are real. There's a good one by Betty. I forget. This was an interracial couple in the 40s. And they said that these aliens came into their house, whooped their ass, and then left. Throw out a word. Oh, so if you might just get rid of the ice if you don't mind, bro. I appreciate it. And then they asked Betty White, I forget her name. Anyway, they said, what did they look like? The woman said they were tall, dark-skinned men wearing Western apparel. Western apparel, young brothers, is fringes. That's a very accurate account to the Bible. You can find them. They're easy to Google by now. But most of the accounts of UFOs are just white people with their inventions, their planes, testing them. Would you mind if I show you? Is it all right? I just happen to have one right here for you. I'm going to send you this. Stand by. This might explain most of the UFO story to you, all right? Babbity, babbity, babbity. Stand by. Here we go. Who do I send this to for you to get this? You want to send it to yourself? Oh, go ahead. You got it. We'll put it up on the screen, right? So this video will explain the majority of 50 years of UFO sightings, all right? But actual real UFOs are the flying saucers of God, the vehicles of angels, but they are extremely rare. They're not the things that everybody has a video of every night. They're not the things over New Jersey. The things over in New, you got it? So I just push it? Yeah. The things over in New Jersey are the things you can buy on Amazon. You can buy those down on Amazon and scare the piss out of white people. They're nothing. They're drones. You get my point? They're just drones. You can buy them on Amazon. Most aerial, what are those things called? You know how every year for the 4th of July, they have fireworks? Fireworks have been replaced by drones, and you should see what they can do in the sky because there's no fire hazard. After this, I'll show you the drones that people use every year for the 4th of July. Amazon has drones that drop off packages. They have drones that come and look at your house, go look at your roof and look at your entire home when you want to sell your home. Drones are used more than poor black people understand right now. There's tons of drones and they're everywhere doing everything. New Jersey is having just man-made vehicles in the sky, you know, taunting them because they're cowards. And those drones are just proving that they're cowards. The actual real UFOs are something so rare And when you see one, there will be no mistaking what it is. It won't be any, what is that? You absolutely know, because the Most High is not shy and he's not bashful. You understand? And when he appears, when the trumpets roar, everyone will know that they are the chariots of God that you are seeing. I'll give you those precepts. That's in Zechariah, the 5th chapter, and in the book of Ezekiel. The brother will explain 98% of the UFOs that you read about and talk about now. This video should explain it. Hold on, you got to start about start 2 minutes into it. I could be wrong, but it's probably 2 minutes into it. Yeah, I believe so.
Was specifically set up by the CIA.
A little bit before it, a couple of seconds, 10 seconds.
Before?
I think so. Let me hear it.
50s, Area 51 was specifically set up.
About 20 seconds more. Listen carefully, whoever asked this question, all right? This woman here, this broad is from the CIA. She worked for the CIA forever. She came down to be a host on this blog show. Let me hear this.
That plane they fly.
I do.
Right, so that's the SR-71. That's the Air Force version of it.
Give it 30 seconds and we should be done.
15 years ago, 20 years ago. It was a one-seater. It had a CIA pilot in it. They flew it out at Area 51.
Give it 1 minute, all right? Let me tell you what this is again. This is a white woman who works for the CIA. She has intimate knowledge about the story you're about to learn about right now, all right? 1 more minute ahead. Go ahead.
In 1960, think of what a refrigerator looked like in 1960. In the 50s, Area 51 was specifically set up by the CIA to develop the U-2 spy plane.
It's a short set, so it's like only like a minute, something long.
You want to start from the beginning then? Is that what you're saying? Go ahead. All right. Play the whole thing.
In the 50s, Area 51 was specifically set up by the CIA to develop the U-2 spy plane, which was this high-flying aircraft, 70,000 feet up it flew. When that was flying, it was mistaken for a UFO. When the CIA built the follow-on plane, which was called the A-12 Oxcart. Did you ever see any of the X-Men movies?
Oh, yeah,
Okay, so you know that plane they fly?
I do.
Right, so that's the SR-71. That's the Air Force version of it. It's a two-seater. The CIA precursor plane, which was totally secret, not declassified till 15 years ago, 20 years ago. It was a one-seater. It had a CIA pilot in it. They flew it out at Area 51. It went Mach 3 something in 1960, 2,300 miles an hour at 90,000 feet. Okay, in 1960, think of what a refrigerator looked like in 1960. In the 50s, Area 51.
They were flying these planes, and when people saw them, they thought it was a UFO. It flew 2,000 miles per hour, and she's trying to make you understand. You could look at a refrigerator from the 1960s up. It looks like, it's from the 20s. It looks like a box, with an ice block at the bottom. But they had this technology that when people saw it, it was otherworldly. Where was this technology at? Area 51. She just said it on this tape. Area 51 is that place that everyone knows about, which is where they have the Roswell landing, the spaceships that crashed at Roswell, and they're being held at Area 51. That's a lie from white people. That's like Santa Claus. It's a lie. And many of you don't understand that white people lie. It's really their greatest gift, besides the gift to kill people. White people have two amazing gifts. The first one is to kill. The second one is to lie. They lie so good, and you'll sit home like, oh, Area 51, the aliens. The aliens. There are no aliens. Area 51 is where they practice flying these killing machines that you think were a demon from Satan if it comes over your country. But it's just a white man in there flying it and bombing your country and spying on you every goddamn day. Now, what do white people use for their spying and killing? Drones. What's back in the news? Aliens. Aliens are it's white people. You understand? It's white people and their weapons. And now I can guarantee you, let me just tell you something that's not a prophecy, but it's common sense. There are drones over New Jersey that are scaring everyone, which will mean what's next? Laws against drones. The average person in a minute will not be allowed to have a drone. But who will still have drones? The United States government will still have drones, but there won't be any more of your drones in the sky anymore. So then you won't film what they're doing in the sky. Whenever white people are afraid, a law is next. That's all that means. A law is coming. The minute I heard them say, in the year 2020, there will be more Hispanics than white people. Raise your hand if you heard that on the news before. And by the year 2020, there will be more Hispanics in America than white people. When I saw that, I said, Lord have mercy. I knew what that meant. I knew what was coming. I knew the minute they said, white people are not having children anymore, and Hispanics are about to outnumber white people. I prayed for Hispanics that moment when I heard that, because I know that that is coming on the news to scare white people. And if white people get scared, a law is next. White people now are afraid of drones, which common sense tells me a law is coming that outlaws anyone getting or having a drone, which means when you are caught with a drone, you're going to jail. And the only drones in the sky will be theirs. Everyone understands. So now I'll just explain the entire UFO myth. It's a myth. It's a lie like Santa Claus. Now here's real UFOs. Give me Zechariah, the 5th chapter. Zechariah, the 5th chapter, is speaking about the Most High's chariots, the chariots of God. The actual UFOs are the vehicles of our salvation. Our salvation is going to be facilitated because of UFOs. UFOs are the things your grandmother sung about. If you're from the tribe of Judah, you know what I'm talking about. You've heard the song, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, coming for to carry me home. I remember my grandmother singing that song. Slaves singing about these chariots that they were waiting for. These chariots that required what? Patience to wait for these chariots. That's all they had. They knew they were being abused. They knew they deserved justice, but they had to wait for it. They were waiting for chariots to come and carry them home. Well, these chariots are the vehicles of your salvation. And we're going to read about it right now. Do you know what I need? Please read.
This is the book of Zechariah, 5, verse 1. Then I turned and lifted up my eyes.
This is the prophet Zechariah. He's sitting in a boat with an angel. And the angel is trying to explain to him how his people are going to receive justice. They're going to receive salvation. Zechariah doesn't believe it all the way. His faith is weakening. Then he turned and lifted up his eyes. Read that part again.
Then I turned and lifted up my eyes.
Then he turned and lifted up his eyes. He looked up into the sky. Go ahead.
And looked.
And what?
And looked.
And he looked. Go ahead.
And behold.
And behold. Go ahead.
A flying roll.
A flying what?
Roll.
A what roll?
Flying
a
roll.
Flying roll. That's what he saw. How many thousands of years ago are we talking? He looked up into the sky. Back at that time, there was nothing flying but birds. That's it. He looked up in the sky and he saw a flying roll. Go ahead.
Verse 2. And he said unto me, what seest thou?
The angel said, well, what are you looking at? What do you see? Go ahead.
And I answered, I see a flying roll.
A flying. Now you want to imagine a roll. Think of a scroll, but the thing is flying in the sky. He looks at it and he said, behold, I see a flying roll. Go ahead.
The length thereof is 20 cubits.
A cubit is like the tip of your finger to your elbow. It's a rough unit of measurement. Go ahead.
And the breadth thereof 10 cubits.
Keep going.
Verse 3. Then said he unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth.
Then the angel said, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. This is our salvation. The same way there was people in Iraq being tortured by Saddam Hussein until one day bombers in the sky freed Iraq from Saddam Hussein. Now Iraq is under America's control. They were bombed. One day they were suffering in Tokyo. Then one day bombers in the sky. Now freed Tokyo, and now Tokyo is ruled by America. There was a time when Germany was in control of Europe. One day then bombers were in the sky over Berlin. Now America controls Germany. Well, the end of America will be the same way. America rules the planet Earth. One day, our military will be in the sky, and that will be the end of America, the end of Great Britain. America will end the way so many other countries have ended at its hand. America has SR-71 Blackbirds that come into your city and your country and destroy your country. Now America is in charge of your country. America is going to reap what it sowed. There's a supernatural force that's greater than the American military. It's just not of this world. And when it appears in the sky, it will mean freedom to the poor, freedom to the oppressed. Continue.
For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off.
Everyone that steals will be cut off. Keep going.
As on this side according to it.
As on this side according to it. Everyone that steals is going to be stopped from stealing. Everyone that steals is going to be stopped from stealing according to it. These chariots are going to stop thieves from stealing. Are going to stop thieves from stealing America, from stealing land, from stealing labor, from stealing God's love and keeping it for themselves. Every thief is going to be cut off because of these chariots in the sky. Continue.
And everyone that swears shall be cut off.
And everyone that does what?
Swearing.
Everyone that swears. Well, what does it mean to swear? I can give you where they swear. I saw it too much. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And without that, you can't even take the stand. Well, they do that with the Bible and disobey every word in the Bible, while they make you swear on the Bible to say that now you're telling the truth. You're going to be cut off because you swear. God said not to swear. God said you should never swear. Your swearing is going to stop because of those chariots in the sky. Continue.
Shall be cut off as on that side according to it. Verse 4. I will bring it forth.
I will do what?
I will bring it forth.
God is going to make it happen. The actual real UFOs are the chariots of God. God is going to bring it forth. God is going to make it happen. You just have to wait for it. You have to be worthy of it. Continue.
Saith the Lord of hosts.
I know you understand that. Was there more? That's enough for you for time's sake. You got that. You got Ezekiel 38. You got the one about the flying saucers. That's also in the Bible, but that's a good enough breakdown for you for tonight, all right? Próximo preguntas.
This is from Jeremy Weaver. Are there any I.S.U.P.K members who are the descendants of the Jacobites who wanted Barabbas instead of Jesus?
The Jacobites? I'm not sure what he's talking about.
I think he said Jacobites. Like,
are there any I.S.U.P.K members that are descendants of the people who love Barabbas? Everyone in the UPK is a descendant of the people that love Barabbas over Christ, including your mother, including your father, including my mother and my father, including, give me some more. Every black person loved Barabbas and did not love Jesus Christ. Every last one. We're all the descendants of sinners. Every last one of us. That's who we are. We are the descendants of the people that said, crucify him. We have no king but Caesar. Are UPK members the descendants of the ones that chose Barabbas? Yeah. And so is your mother and your father and every black and Hispanic's mother and father, because all of us betrayed Christ. How many people were there when Christ was taken to be killed? 11. You know who wasn't there? What's his brother's name again?
Jeremy Weaver.
Jeremy Weaver. Who was not there when they came to crucify Christ? Can I give you something to see if Jeremy? Give me a couple of names, Jeremy Weaver. Can I give you one, Jeremy Weaver? Well, let's get his answer first, and then I'll give you a couple of names. Okay. Now remember, who was there? All the 12 disciples except for Judas. They were there. That's 11 people. Let me give Jeremy Weaver a chance, and then I'll answer the question for him, all right? But to his question, yes, every black person, especially the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, all of our descendants betrayed Christ and betrayed our God. All of us. And look at us now. Do you understand, Jeremy Weaver? Look at us now, Jeremy Weaver. All of our, my father was a cocaine addict, my mother a whore, my grandmother a whore, my grandfather a murderer, my great-grandfather a murderer. And look at me now. Look at all of us now. We don't come from some righteous bloodline. Who in the hell do you think we are? We're the sons of criminals. What did David say? David agreed with my saying. David said, behold, in sin did my mother conceive me. In sin was I brought up. David was just like me, Jeremy Weaver. He was just like me. Everything all right, warrior? Are you in an emergency? No. Let me talk. David was just like I am, the son of evil people, the son of sinners. But look at what he did. You understand, don't you? Jeremy Weaver might not quite. He might. I'm sure his mother and father were, I don't know who his mother and father were. I mean, I guess the most righteous people in whatever podunk town he lives in. I'm sure they were the congressmen of the town, not mine. My family were not congressmen and congresswomen. They were sinners. But look at me now. My brothers are no different than me. My sisters are just like me. Please, Captain in the back. Yes, he needs a microphone.
Yeah, if I may, sir, I was going to say, Christ, he was made through sinful flesh like us, but look who he became.
Well, Jesus, the Bible says this, behold, there come the flower out of dry ground. Out of dry ground. Jesus Christ came from the seed of sinners. He came from a house bereaved of lordship, a house who had lost its prestige. His father was a carpenter in a ghetto. But look at what he did. So to your question, yeah, everyone in my family before me was evil and definitely would have chose Barabbas and not Jesus Christ. I can guarantee that. However, I've decided to do something better. My brothers also have decided the same thing. I pray you understand. Officer Knock. Did the brother answer the question? No answer? What's his name?
Jeremy Weaver.
Jeremy Weaver, you got nothing to say? I'll give you the answer in a second then. The answer I want, let the chat room ask them. Who was not there when Jesus Christ was killed? We know 11 people were there. Who was not there? Officer Knock. Here we go. Here, give Knock a hand. How did I forget that, Knock? Here, Peter also wasn't there. Peter ran and denied Christ 3 times and ran. That's what Peter did. He did that. That's Peter. But look at what he did after that. Look at what he did on the day of Pentecost. Historians say Peter was crucified upside down. Historians say they offered him to crucify him the way Christ was crucified. And he said, I'm not worthy to be crucified like my king. Crucify me upside down. Look at him now. Who else was not there? I'm going to give you the question. There was a day when Jesus Christ fed 5,000 men with 7 fish and 5 loaves of bread. Where the hell were they when the Romans came? Who did they choose? I don't remember the story saying 5,000 men said, we want Jesus Christ. He fed 5,000 of us with 7 fish. I don't recall that in the Bible. 5,000 men chose Barabbas over Christ when they were there and got fed with fish that was a miracle. They all left the truth and all left him. Knock.
Because Lazarus dead.
Knock, I'm waiting for that. Give Knock a hand, because I'm waiting for Jeremy to answer. I thought Jeremy was going to say that. I thought Jeremy was going to say, Lazarus said, we want Barabbas. Lazarus was dead for 3 days and stinking, like Knock just said. Lazarus said, we want Barabbas. That's what Lazarus said. Yeah, that's where I come from, Mark. That's me. That's my brothers. That's your mother too, Jeremy, and your father. You ask your mother about her history, you'd be stunned. Jeremy, talk to your mom about what she's done. You're going to be shocked. Ask her if she's sure who your father really is. You'll be stunned, Jeremy, about the kind of wickedness that has happened to our families and that our families have done in the past. However, in the Israelite school of U.P.K. under commanding General YAHANNA, we will not allow our past to determine our future. Just look at us now. Just look at us now. All right, próximo preguntas. I'm sorry. Let me get the sister in the class, please. You might need the microphone, sis. Oh, shit. I forgot. The little sister came. I forgot to bring cash. Look me up with a cash app. I'll straighten her out. Oh, my Lord. Now I'm wrong. All right, what you got for me over there? Help me out, sir. Give me a cash app. Let's send something to the sister real fast, all right? Let's get your cash app to REI right there. He'll straighten you out, all right? She knows. Let's hear the salute first, though. You talk a lot. Let's hear the salute. Where is it at? Come on with it. Get her on camera, someone. Get her on camera and let's hear the salute. Here, what's her name? All right, let's hear it. Shalom. Yeah. YAHUAH. All right, get that girl $20. Get her $20 tonight. Just get REI your cash app. He'll straighten you out, all right? Okay, sis, what was your question? No problem, sis. Go ahead.
Yes, sir, if I may, if you could provide a scripture that helps with rebuilding respect in relationships that may have been strained while you were studying yourself.
Let me get it. Hold on. A scripture about rebuilding strength and relationships while you say again?
Respect in relationships.
Okay, I don't quite get it. Can you give me like a scenario?
So if you just respect in relationship, once disrespect enters it in any relationship, like with your parents or your spouse, whoever. Once respect or once disrespect enters, it's kind of like it's there. So I need a scripture that helps with rebuilding that respect level in relationships.
Okay, stand by 1 second. Okay, 1 second. I'll give you a couple of precepts. Someone hold these for me. Someone hold Matthew 7:3-5. Okay, you just hold that for me. Okay, then also this. You're going to give me Matthew 22:38. Okay, you hold those. Now, before I give you those precepts, however, I'm going to give you some fatherly advice. All right. In a relationship, there are certain phrases that are fighting words. You get my point? One of the biggest fighting words that there is respect. I've advised so many silly couples to get rid of the word respect. They don't listen to me and they fight. Respect is a word that is contentious. You should remove it from your vocabulary. Brothers should not use the word respect. They should never say the phrase respect, because respect is a thing that you fight for. And once, of course, you are disrespected, you have to disrespect them. The only way to be respected is to demand it. So the minute a woman says, well, why can't he respect me? He needs to respect me. A man never goes, I should respect her. You know what a man says the minute you say you disrespecting him? Take a guess. Brothers? That's true. Let me clean it up for you. A brother says, you're disrespecting me. So the minute you say, well, you disrespected me, then now I can say, well, you disrespect me. Well, you better respect me. No, bitch, you better respect me. And now here we go. Respect me, respect me, respect me. You disrespected me, you disrespected me. I advise silly couples to remove that word. Don't respect anyone. Don't avoid disrespecting anyone. Be kind to one another. Don't be unkind to each other. Now, kindness is a whole different one. Tell your husband, you're being cruel to me. Well, that's a whole different thing, sweetie. You understand? Well, that's a whole different thing to tell your man. You're being cruel to me. Why are you so cruel to me? You're hurting me. Why are you being so cruel to me? That is a completely different thing. Now you're in, I'm fine, warrior. Now you're fighting for kindness. Kindness. And that is a fight you want to be in. You do not want to be in a disrespect fight. And also, disrespect fights to a man will translate into it's something he does with other men. You don't know this, but men, do y'all still slap box? Y'all don't do that anymore. Y'all on the computer now. Y'all don't know nothing about slap boxing. Brother, we had the slap box on site immediately at all time, every day, because you just had to be respected and not be disrespected. And so respect was damn near every minute of every day of who is respecting me. So-and-so is disrespecting me. What's disrespect? Looking at me, being in the same place I'm in, I mean, just, he disrespecting you. He doing what? He doing what? I told General Mayak somebody disrespected him one time. He wouldn't tell all my stories all the time. I told General Mayak one time that somebody disrespected him. He walked into that room and knocked this fool out. What? And because I said, Mayak, this nigga is disrespecting you. You gonna let that shit go down like that? He said, come on. It was a rough day. Anyway, that's our life. You get my, it's like, so the minute a woman says it, it's like, well, disrespect. You ain't respect. Don't do that. Kindness. That's what you want to do. You married to a woman, you got a mother, you with your mother, be kind to her. Your mother should be kind to you. You have children, be kind to your children. Your children should be kind to their mother, right? You want to fight for that. So you get that point? So start with that. Just remove that word. If you say that word, you're making a mistake. That's how you know this whole conversation is going somewhere that ends up in conflict and fighting because we're fighting for respect or because we've been disrespected. You clear on that, right? Now, how do you build it? How do you get it back into your relationship? It's very simple, and I'll show you how. When I say simple, meaning the instructions are simple, the completion of it is extremely difficult. All right? Give me the precept I asked for. Either one.
This is Matthew chapter 7, verse 3. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye?
Why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye? A mote is a splinter. So the scenario is me finding flaws in you. So I'm looking at you and I go, you got a splinter in your eye. So of course, because you have a splinter in your eye, what do I want to do? I want to go get that splinter out of your eye. You got a blemish. Got something wrong with you. Something is wrong with you. Let me get that splinter out of your eye. That's the metaphor, right? You see a little small thing As you're talking to someone in their eye, you, of course, want to go over to them and get that splinter out your eye. You got something on your eyelid. Get it out. Read it again.
Why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye?
Why are you looking at the splinter in your brother's eye? Keep going.
But considereth not the beam that is in thine own.
You know what a beam is? It's that thing that holds up a house, a wooden beam. Why are you looking at the flaw in your mother, your brother, your husband, your wife, and you don't even consider the giant log in your eye? Do you understand? You can see the small flaws in other people. You don't even think about the giant flaws that you have. If you want to build a relationship of kindness, focus on your flaws, not theirs. That's the key. So I'm not looking at how he disrespects me. I'm focusing on, am I being kind to them? I have to have my mind on me, on what I'm doing, not what's wrong with him, not the thing that's wrong with her, but focus on the gigantic thing wrong with you. And if you give me someone that is super critical of other people's flaws, oh, I'm going to find some giant flaws in them. Gigantic. You can't notice it. You can't notice it because you focus on other people and what they're doing. You understand? Keep going.
Verse 4. Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote in thine eye?
How do you go to your brother and go, hey, come here, man, you got a splinter in your eye. Come over here, let me get it out, man. What you doing with that thing? You got something wrong with you. I want to fix it. I'm perfect. There's nothing in my eye, so let me fix you. You have a splinter about this big in your eye. Come over here, let me get it. Come on, let me get it. How will you say that to him? Go ahead.
Behold, a beam is in thy own eye.
You don't see you got a giant tree trunk in your goddamn face? You don't notice that? Well, if you want to have a relationship of kindness, you'll focus on being kind, not is he kind or is she kind? You're focused on being kind. You understand? That's step one. Give me the other precept.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 38. This is the first and great commandment.
This is the what?
This is the first and great commandment.
Where's Jeremy at? I asked for Jeremy about a half an hour ago. Jeremy? Where's Jeremy? Anyway. This is the first and great commandment. This is the big boy here, sister. This is the big one. This is the first and great commandment. Go ahead.
Verse 39. And the second is like unto it.
And the second commandment is just like the first one. Keep going.
Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
That word neighbor is brother in the scriptures. Your family. That's what we're discussing, right? Your family. Love your family like you love yourself. That's the big boy. That is so simple in its direction, difficult in its completion. Very difficult. Love thy brother as thyself. Keep going.
Verse 40. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.
And love thy God with all thy heart and all thy soul, and love thy brother as thyself. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be keeping all the commandments. I'm going to be being the most perfect person of God I can be, which means keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments. And the second one is just like the first. When it comes to my brother, I'm going to do to him what I want done to me. And I will not do something to them that I do not want done to myself. Before you know it, you have a mother and a daughter relationship of great kindness. You have a marriage with two people who are kind to one another, who can suffer each other, who can have patience with each other. Many of you think a marriage is winning every argument. A good marriage loses arguments on purpose. You lose them on purpose. You lose them. You make sure you lose them. You make sure that you always lose it all the time. You got a practice of losing it. What if two people are on purpose losing arguments every day with each other? You know what you have? Two people that don't argue. I pray you understand. Was that the answer to your question? Próximo preguntas, right here. I'll get you now. Go ahead.
What does it mean to lose arguments on purpose?
I'll give you some examples, right? You know how in an argument, you know you're right. You get my point? So you know you're right, right? Losing them on purpose is you evaluate whether or not being right is more important to me than making the person that I love feel bad. Now, there are certain things where you have to stand on it. That's rare, though. In a marriage, you know how few things are important? I mean, it's damn near nothing. You know what you're going to fight over in a marriage? Where you're going to eat tonight? The temperature. The temperature in the room, the temperature in the car. You know, something that means nothing you're going to fight about. So if both of you are saying, is this important? Is this something that I really have to put my foot down on? Or does it mean nothing? Well, if it means nothing, you win. You're right. You're right about it. I'm wrong about it. You're right. And that's going to get rid of about 90% of your fights. Go ahead, sis.
Yeah, it's about Christmas, celebrating holidays, things like that. Is that what we have to stand out?
That's what you must stand your ground on. What you must. And remember, in this scenario, if your husband is in the world, then your whole life is going to be fighting, because your husband has a beam in his eye. Do you understand? Your husband has a flaw so gigantic that he doesn't notice. All he notices is that he has a woman who won't obey him. That's all he notices. He doesn't notice that he's a drug addict, a crackhead, a weed head, he eats pork, he eats shrimp. He doesn't realize that. Some men are like that. Some men only know that you're not obeying them. That's all they know. They don't realize that they smoke weed every day. They don't realize that they snort coke, that they steal, or that they're gay, or that they're child molesters. All they know is that you're their woman and they're a man, and you're supposed to obey them. Well, you're going to have to stand on that, because if you obey him, you're going to die. So you cannot obey a wicked husband. You can't do it, because then you will be wicked. You understand? He's the one that has to take the log out of his eye before he can complain about you not obeying him. So you get my point? It's reversed. You good to go here? Solid. Knock. No sweat. Knock.
Good, sir. Me and my rep arguing about nothing, right?
Yeah.
She was like, you know, the sun came with on our raft, right?
She got you. Some of them get you with that one. No. Some of them come in here and learn one too many scriptures. Before you know it, they got your ass with that one. You know the sun shall not go down. Oh, you mother. Well, there you go. Right, so that's how it's done. Right, good to go. Anything else? Questions? I'm sorry. Please, I'll get the brother right here, to Benjamin. Go ahead, brother.
I said that question, but I don't know. I was on to get a brief.
My apologies. Go ahead.
What I really wanted to clarify is with respect to living long life in this life and life after.
No problem. Baruch 3:17.
No, 13 to 15.
Baruch, what chapter? 3 and 13 to 15. Someone please get that from. Where you can get it for yourself is up to you. It doesn't matter to me.
This is Baruch chapter 3, verse 13. For if thou hast walked in the way of God, thou shalt have dwelled in peace forever.
Let me break that down for you. Give me 2 verses above it.
Come on. This is Baruch chapter 3, verse 11. Thou that art counted with them that go down in the grave, thou hast forsaken the fountain of wisdom.
Stop right there. Thou that art counted with them that go down into the grave, meaning you are just like the people who are dead. That goes straight into the New Testament where Christ and the Old Testament, where Ezekiel said that we were dead, meaning we're physically alive, but spiritually we're dead. That's in Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about? Yeah. Well, we're the dead. We're the dry bones. We're dead. We're counted with the people that go down into the grave. Even though we're alive, our life is death. What is a life that's death? A life of a sinner. A life of someone that disobeys God, that does not keep the commandments of God. So even though we're alive, yet are we dead. That's straight out the New Testament, a quote. You understand? Keep going.
Verse 12. Thou hast forsaken the fountain of wisdom.
We have forsaken the fountain of wisdom. A fountain, the fountain is just like a spring. So imagine the spring of wisdom. It's just, the metaphor is like you go into the forest and there's some, mountain spring that's giving out clean, crystal, beautiful water to drink. We reject it. We don't want to drink from that fountain of wisdom. What's the fountain of wisdom? The Bible. The Bible is the fountain of wisdom. What do we do to the Bible? Reject it. We don't care about it. We don't care about God. We don't ask the Lord who we should have sex with or what we should eat or what holidays we should celebrate. We reject the fountain of wisdom that God passed down to us, which is the Bible. Continue.
Verse 13. For if thou hadst walked in the way of God, thou shalt have wealth and peace forever.
Let me tell you, brother, if our family and our forefathers, starting with Adam, if we would have obeyed God, we would be in the kingdom of heaven, the land of Israel, the land of Goshen. Think about the beautiful lands God has provided for us, even here in this captivity. Even in Egypt, we had Goshen. We had a place out that was ours. Before that, we had the Garden of Eden. We had it, but we couldn't obey God. We wanted to be like the other nations. And so we lost the peaceful existence that would have been provided for us. That's what this is speaking about. Continue.
Verse 14. Learn where is wisdom.
Read that again.
Learn where is wisdom.
That's what you better do first, Doc. You better learn where is wisdom. You better go find out where wisdom is. You've done that. This is where wisdom is. Wisdom is in this small sanctuary that God has provided for his saints. It's right here. And now because you're here, you can learn. You can now drink from that spring of knowledge. Continue.
Where is strength?
All right, I'll see if someone needs my help out there. If they need my help, I'll just pause the class for a second. Do they need my help? All right, continue.
Verse 14. Learn where is wisdom. Where is strength?
Learn where is wisdom. Where is strength? Learn where it is. You found it. It's right here. And here, we'll teach you to be strong. What does it mean to be strong? The ability to carry something heavy. You understand? The ability to take up a heavy burden, to pick it up. What do you learn outside of the UPK? To be weak, to fold under the pressure. Can you imagine how many people are going to celebrate Christmas for the kids? For the kids. A grown-ass man. So for some 5-year-old, what are you going to do? Let the 5-year-old decide the religion of the family? The child is the decider. The child is the priest. The child is the one that chooses the religion. You sitting there, you know that it's wrong to celebrate Christmas. But this 5-year-old says he wants Christmas. So you do it. Well, what else are you going to do for the 5-year-old? Let him eat candy for every meal? Let him run outside naked? Let him go into a man's car because the man said there's a puppy in there? What other decisions can your baby make? Your baby can't make any decisions except for the religion of the family. That's ridiculous. Your child is a box of candy away from getting in a stranger's car. That's your child. You have enough candy to that kid, they'll get into the car with a stranger. You're asking the child what holiday to celebrate. Maybe you're weak. Maybe that's what's happening. You're weak. In here, you can learn how to be strong. Continue.
Learn where is wisdom, where is strength, where is understanding.
Learn where is wisdom, where is strength, where is understanding. What time do we go upstairs? We're about to go upstairs now. Learn where is wisdom, where is strength, where is understanding. You found that. Where's your question at, Warrior?
15.
Please, where are we at right now?
15, 8 and 14.
Thou mayest know also where is length of days and life, where is the light of thy eyes and peace.
Here we go. Thou mayest know what?
That thou mayest know also where is length of days and life.
That's to your question, right? Oh, she's being too loud. She's. Go ahead. Please go ahead.
Verse 15. Who had found out her place, or who had come into her treasure?
To your question now, you wanted to know, is this precept about how to find length of days? It is. Having a long, beautiful life is one of the benefits to being able to find this truth in a timely manner. In a timely manner. So many of us we find the truth when it's too late. Those of us like you and I, we found the truth, brother, in a timely manner. We were able to come into the truth, and live out long years in the truth, to be able to experience the kindness that we're able to experience in the truth, able to learn strength, able to learn knowledge. And because of it, we could live forever. Now, why? Because if you to get the real understanding of this, don't think so much about the individual, but think about a people who are a people of long life, a people who are a people who have knowledge, a people who are a people who are strong. You get my point? That's what this precept is about. And of course, if our people are strong, then we'll have access to that strength. And it all comes from the commandments of God. If that was your question, you're absolutely correct about that. Duwada, come on, warrior. You have something else you wanted to say? Up front.
I got you. According to the scripture, will I guess concubine lawful heir?
According to the scriptures, is a concubine lawful? Meaning right now, there is. Let me just explain briefly. Right, a concubine was absolutely a lawful thing to have. What is a concubine? I'm asking you if you. I'm just seeing if you know.
Would it be like like not a wife? It's like a somewhat of a wife, but somebody that you may just have it's like a sexual partner or something.
Okay, well, you have sex with your wife too. So what is that? What's the difference? Meaning, what's the difference between a concubine and a wife? You have sex with both of them, right? If you have sex with both of them, what does that also mean? You have babies with both of them. So, which babies are more important? Couldn't be. Couldn't be. Then what's the difference between a concubine and a wife? Just so I'm trying to understand the question, meaning you're asking me if we can have a concubine. What is a concubine? Then I'll tell you whether or not we can have one. Do you know what it is? No sweat. Knock.
So why you getting the concubine?
Give him a hand. Let me tell you. A concubine is an absolutely lawful thing that we could have when we were allowed to kill each other. And there was a time when we were allowed to kill each other. There was a time. In that killing, the person who you were killing is your enemy. Their daughter would be a concubine because she was less than your wife, because your wife was part of your group, not the other group. As you know, David, when it came time for him to build the temple, what did he say? Do you know? He said, I cannot build the temple of God, for my hands are too stained with blood. David had killed so many Puerto Ricans, so many West Indians. He couldn't even build God's temple because he killed too many Israelites. Because Israel at one time fought each other. David was only unified king, I think it might be for 5-10 years. He spent 30 years not king over the whole Israel, but killing the other part of Israel, killing the West Indians, killing the people of Saul who didn't want him to become king, killing the northern kingdom. He killed so many of the northern kingdom till finally those Mexicans from the tribe of YAHUSHUA joined him one day. And when they joined him, they then unified the kingdom. And now David set over a unified kingdom of 12 tribes. But until Tola and those SICARII brothers joined him, he was not over the northern kingdom. Until finally they joined him. Before that, he was killing them. They were at war. So in that war, we fought each other. The Bible, go to the concubine precept quickly, please, fast as you can. I gotta go. Concubines are not people of another race. How do you know that for a fact? Because we are forbidden to marry women of another race. We cannot marry a woman of another race. So then what could a concubine be? A woman of your same race, but of a different status. Now it's hard to think about that in America. Great Britain is very familiar with what I'm talking about. Israel was on a class system. A class system. You also could make slaves of Israelites. That was lawful. If a person owed you money, if they were poor and you were rich, they could be your slave. If they were the family of a people who you killed, now you own that family. You could marry the daughter, but she's not the same status as your wife because you've killed her father, killed her family in war, and now you take her as a spoil of war, right? Israel operated on a class system. Jesus Christ came and he broke the wheel. Jesus Christ destroyed the class system in Israel. Jesus Christ said, from now on, you are a nation of priests. A nation of priests. Before then, you had the upper class, which was the Levites. They were the priests, and the Sadducee and Pharisee, or the descendants of the Hashmonean Empire, or the Maccabees, they were the top. The rest of them were just poor people who owed you money, which is where the Sabbath day rules come from. The Sabbath day rules are established because the top higher echelon of rich Israelites forced the poor Israelites to make them fires on the Sabbath. Forced them to build fire on the Sabbath, to cook their food and to build fires. And they had to do it because that was your boss. Until the Lord said, thou shalt do no servile work on the Sabbath. Thou shalt kindle no fires. Thou shalt sweep no floors. Thou shalt flip no burgers. Thou shalt chop no one's wood. You understand? That's God preparing the way to giving a break to the lower class in Israel. The lower class, right? It's in America, I think the only people you call Lord today is landlords. But in the Great Britain, that Lord is a common name. Over in America, America is so different. In America, the Dutch people that came to New York, they didn't want to call their supervisor master, which was the common name to call your supervisor master. Master James, Master Thomas. They switched it to Mr., so it didn't sound like master. And then they used the Dutch word, which is boss, because they didn't want to call him master, which is where the term boss comes from, because they didn't want to say master. In other countries, you are my master. My master is here, my master is there. In America, because America abolished the caste system or the system of aristocracy, they try to get rid of phrases like that. In Israel, we had an aristocracy. We had a caste system, a social system that oppressed a class of people and put the rich black people above the poor black people, the rich Hispanics above the poor Hispanics. Now read me the concubine law, and I got to get the hell out of here. Go ahead.
This is the book of Deuteronomy 21, verse 10. When thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, the Lord thy God hath delivered them into thy hands, and thou hast taken them captive, verse 11.
Now, all you need to know is who are enemies in the Old Testament. You might want to think about the very law this is referring to when the Benjamites were killed by the rest of the nation of Israel. The Benjamites were slaughtered because they went into homosexuality. You might want to go into the northern and the southern kingdom, who killed each other, who fought each other. Manasseh, who was about to go to war with every one of the nations of Israel, and the nation of Israel that was about to go to war with Manasseh, we fought each other constantly. Our wars were with each other more than they were with anybody else. And you just read the Old Testament to understand that. Keep going.
Verse 11. And seest among the captives a beautiful woman.
So now you went to war with the enemy. Now you just find me where race comes into this aspect at all. You go to war with your enemy. You fight him among the what?
Among the captives.
Among the captives. I don't know how someone could be your captive now because you met some white girl online. She can't be your captive, right? Meaning this is you killed her family and you took the survivors captive. They're your prisoners. You get the point. Keep going.
A beautiful woman.
She's beautiful. Go ahead.
It has a desire.
Someone give me the law about having sex with a woman outside your race in Chronicles and Deuteronomy, unless you already know them. If you know them, you know this can't be talking about them. All right, go ahead.
It has a desire unto her.
You want this woman. She's among the captives. She's a prisoner of war. Continue.
That thou wouldest have her to thy wife.
To thy what?
To thy wife.
Now you notice can't be talking about a white woman because the Bible specifically said, thou shalt not take a wife of these nations. This is telling you to take this wife. If you understood logic out there, you would know this can't be an Israelite, right? Could this be a man? Could this be a transgender man? How do you know that? It said wife. Could the man be your wife? Absolutely, he could. Ask Tyler Perry. A man could be your wife. He can be a woman. Can he? Wait, you tell me right now there are not men that are wives? There are. I know you don't want to face it, but there are men right now who are wives. You don't. I'll put them up there if I got to. On that screen. So let's say I say this is a man who has on a dress and lipstick and he's a wife. But how do I know for a fact this is not a transgender man who's calling himself a wife? How do I know that? Because of the law against homosexuality. Well, see, you just used logic just now. You know it can't be a man in a wig because there's a law against a man wearing a wig and being a woman. I know this cannot be a white woman, an African woman, because there's a law against marrying white women and African women. You get the point. It's logic. All right. It's context. All right. Continue.
Verse 12. Then thou shalt bring her home.
So then you bring this woman home who's a prisoner of war. Go ahead.
To thine house.
To your house. Go ahead.
And she shall shave her head.
Now here we go. Why is she shaving her head? Just think logic. Why is she shaving her head? She shaves her head. Go ahead.
And pare her nails.
Paring her nails means she trims her nails. She cuts her nails off. Go ahead.
Verse 13. And she shall put the raiment of her captivity.
What kind of raiment?
And she shall put the raiment of her captivity.
And she shall put the raiment of her captivity. Now just tell me what that looks like. You know what captivity means? What does the clothing of captivity, what does that look like? Exactly. Dirty, ripped. If you got on the clothing of being a prisoner of war, it's not a beautiful dress. It's bloody, dirty, nasty, ripped up clothing. Well, when you bring her to your house, she cuts off her hair, she cuts off her nails, and she takes off the clothing of her captivity. Go ahead.
And shall remain in thy house.
She lives in your house. Why does she cut her hair? And why does she cut off her nails? All you need is logic. That's it. This is a fountain of knowledge in here, right, warrior? So in here, you'll learn logic. You'll learn the three. It was something I wanted to come in here and teach. The three tenets of an argument. The three, what is it called? The three... You know what I'm talking about? There's the three tenets of an argument. You use emotions, history, and something else. It's gonna slip my mind. I'll bring it out here in 1 week, but it's how to properly make an argument that cannot be defeated. And it's three pillars of it. And I'll teach it to you one day. I got it in this briefcase down here. It's full of that. That's what's in there. Full of that. Now I'll give you a little bit of it. Why is she cutting her hair and cutting her nails? One last try for you.
Because she belongs, I guess, to a new. She belongs to a new house, or she's into a new house.
Why does that? Why would she have to cut her hair to say she's in a new house?
She like a new person or something.
Her being bald makes her a new person. Why is she taking off her clothes?
She's taking off her clothes because she was in the war.
Because there
was a remnant of captivity.
You right there. You right there. You're looking at it, but you won't walk in the door. But you're looking right at it. Why is she taking off her clothes? You were about to say something when you said because there. You can go into that, you'll get the answer. Oh, here you go, Aria. Aria said, this is it. Give Aria a hand. Ethos, pathos, and logos. Correct, Aria. You know he in law school. He knows something about something. Ethos, pathos, and logos. I'll bring that out one of these weeks. That's what we're doing right now. Why is she, sisters, give him a hand. Let me give her an answer. Why is she taking off her clothes? Sister. Say it again. Say it. Give her the microphone. Why is she cutting off her hair and cutting off her nails? Because they're dirty. Because she's a prisoner of war. She's not cutting her hair to signify subservience. She's cutting her hair. If you were a woman who was a prisoner of war and you were stuck in a cave for months, can you imagine what that hair would be like? What would be under your nails? All manner of filth. She comes into your home. She cuts that blood-soaked, dirt-matted hair off. She cuts off those nails that are full of blood and dirt and skin. She cuts them off so she can grow new hair, clean, new nails, clean. You're saving her life. You're bringing her into your home. You're giving her new clothing, not those bloody rags she's been in, full of smoke and soot and menstrual fluid. Throw those in the trash. Cut your hair off. It's full of blood and dirt. Cut your nails off. They're full of blood and dirt. Now you bring her into your home. Now she's part of your family. This is a sister. She's a sister, but she lost. She's not rich and powerful like you are. She's from a lower family who now serves your family because her father was not as rich as yours. And this is the system that Israel was under. There's 1,000 precepts that I can give you another day that proves this. Jesus Christ broke this wheel. He broke it. Remember, who was he? He was a carpenter in a ghetto. Can any good thing come from Nazareth? They couldn't believe that he could be king because of where he came from. Because now his family, though in the past they were rich and powerful, they lost everything. That's in the book of Isaiah, the 53rd chapter. They lost everything. Now they were poor. But look at them now. You understand. With that, pass the class over to priest officer Mutamya.
Rock. YAHAWASHI,
All right, y'all straight out the sister, all right? See me about it afterwards, all right? So,
this is the I.S.U.P.K. This is the I.S.U.P.K. security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K. start out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for YAHANNA. Rules for new brothers and sisters. The new brother and sister comes into the school. They are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After the 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from their head to speak to a brother and sister. There's another 6 months in which a brother and sister will court each other. After this month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. tithes, which is a commandment. You can find that in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. Means 10th in Hebrew, YAHUSHUA. 10% of every penny and any increase the Lord gives you, give it to the Treasury Department. Priest fund. Free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocation will be the Feast of Dedication. That's the 25th day of the 9th month. It'll be this Wednesday, the 25th. You can read about that in First Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 52 to 61. Remind Akim Al-Waf to check the bulletin board in the hallway. And if any brother wants to become a trooper in the schools, start to wear all black, blue shirt, headbands, and scarf. And with that, men of Israel, mind you. Stand. We're going to get one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, mind you, Shabbat. Amayim. Barak.
Yahawah, Yahushua,
Ashmitah, Sar, sisters, Amayim. Stand. All right, men of Israel, we're going to get a sister one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Amayim Shabbat, Amayim, Barak, Yahawah Shema, Hashem Yahushua. Ashmitah,